Hello guys, it's French Wine and today we're gonna talk about a rather serious subject, but that it seemed essential to me evoked here, the French election campaign. Why here, say you? You only talk about gaming and suddenly politics? Well, in fact I just want to talk about it in order to clarify some points. I know from a sure source that the foreign media are not always the most neutral, and so I wanted to enlighten you on the subject. You will fall asleep less stupid tonight? Well, I hope. I will start with the very broad horizon of the history of ideas in France. You will undoubtedly find similarities with your respective countries, and well, it's quite normal. In France, we divide the political class into 5 different categories, from the extreme left to the extreme right, passing through the centers. Yeah, I'm a genius. Fuck you. We find in the extreme left several infamous political movements, like the communism or the anarchism. On the more moderate left, there are 2 major parties, both a mixture of liberalism and communism, summing up roughly, of course. Well, what does this mean? Well, they think that the world must remain liberal, so they're not communist, but that the state has an essential part to play in the lives of people, whether it be for education or even health. The 2 parties representing this left are the Left Front and the Socialist Party. The Socialist Party is historically the most established in France. It has seen several presidents grow in its members. For instance, our current one, François Hollande. The Left Front is kinda new, but still founded by former members of the Socialist Party. Their differences lie mainly in the vision of how should be the Europe, and the Left Front is more pronounced on the sharing of resources, with for instance a maximum wage for CEOs. Well, that's kind of a communist idea, but well, not really, that's my point. At the right side we find old parties like what we call now the Republicans, but which was called in the past the UMP or even the RPR. Only the name changed, not the people within. The main motto of this party is that liberalism should rule. Rule. Yeah, you know I'm French. Rule. Yeah, it should rule over the state, and that we should reduce the usage of the politic money in order to let people pay less taxes and then allow them to invest more in themselves. At the extreme right, we see other movements of thought, more, well, let's call it populist, with its main part called the National Front. His infamous candidate Marine Le Pen is the daughter of Jean-Marie Le Pen, a notorious French politician, notably known for its somewhat provocative spillover of speech toward certain minorities. Well, I'm staying polite. I forgot to mention the center because I just wanted to say that they are mostly a mix of the left and the right. You could have guessed that by yourself. To speak about the candidates, at the time I record this video, 4 of them have been demarked of the lot, and only 2 will leave Sunday in the second round. I will present them briefly because I don't want this video to last hours. François Fillon is the representative of the Republicans. He wishes a return to the Catholic source of France and its traditions. The abolition of the French tax only applied to the richest, and a reduction of the aid granted to the most deprived. He wished to eliminate as many state functions as possible by reducing, for instance, health repayment, as something we celebrate and appreciate in France. Marine Le Pen, representing the extreme right, advocates reducing the number of immigrants the country can receive and increasing security at the French borders. Its program is based on the fact that there are social abuses in the country that deprive native French people of the resources they need, take jobs, and the financial help they deserve. Its program remains quite social, especially toward the poor categories such as workers and peasants, as long as they are French. We could, I think, imagine that she represents the Donald Trump of the France. I shall classify the third candidate, Emmanuel Macron, in the central part of the distribution of ideas. It's a former member of the Socialist Party. He leaves it to found his movement on the mark. He is the one supposed to represent the novelty of the political class. After a career as a banker, he decided to run for the position of the youngest president of the Fifth French Republic, at only 39 years old. His ideas are a mixture left and right, as I just said, which I find personally quite catch-all between liberalism and a lean socialism. One of its most known measures in the past being the authorization of business to open on Sundays, which was often not the case in France. He also proposed the financial assistance provided by France to companies called the CICE. France has given the equivalent of 40 billion euros in order to boost employment. Well, without success so far. The last candidate, who is also the one who has the most increase in surveys lately, is Jean-Luc Mélenchon. He represents the most social and ecologist left. He proposes the use of fewer pesticides in agriculture, more means in the state, more renewable energy, renegotiation of European treaties, and a change of constitution for France. He is the most progressive candidate, but also the one on which the most doubt weighs. Indeed, he proposed an economic revival and an exit from austerity, which is not the solution the majority of people would recommend. That's it for my fast turn of horizon of the French presidential. I tried to remain as concise and neutral as possible, but it seems more than obvious that my opinion here plays a role behind my initial intentions. I hope to have enlightened you and allowed you a better overview of the politics in France one day before the election. Don't hesitate to tell me what you thought and if you want more information of a certain people parties. Right on, folks, have a nice weekend and see you soon. Oh, and don't hesitate to subscribe and all.